I'm Jay Taylor, editor of the newsletter Jay Taylor's Gold, Energy, and Tech Stocks. And I'm here at the Metals Investor Forum. It is the first day of March 2025. And I'm happy to tell you I'm here with Kit Mars. He is the founder, president, CEO of Western Alaska. It's a company that is, it's been public for a few years now, but it's had some early success with the drill bit and some really high grade, what they call carbonate replacement mineralization. That would be silver, lead, zinc, those kind of things, right? So
that's correct. So
yeah, and tell us about what you have so far. It is really high grade rock, right? It's really expensive rock. And if you have much of this, this is a home run for sure.
That's very true, and thank you again for inviting me here. It's always good to come back to this conference. So, really, that's really the king linchpin of our company, Western Alaska Minerals, is we have two resources. The one we went public on, which was the original Illinois Creek mine, nice open pit oxide gold mine, 1.5 grams. We were going public in 2021 based on that resource. That summer, right before we went public, we had the good fortune of drilling into this rock, which I have in my hand. So this is a classic piece of very, very high grade silver. It's a galena sphalerite, massive sulfide, and as you mentioned, it's hosted by dolomite. So it's really that's why it's called a carbonate replacement deposit. The resource that we announced in March 1 year ago, actually probably this week, 74.9 million. I better be correct since we're being filmed here. Ounces of silver equivalent. This is polymetallic, obviously, with the lead and zinc component. But it's with this grade and increasing silver prices, which is part of the gold and silver, the buzz of the last 6 months or so, or last year, really, if you look at it. At that grade, depending on the day of the week, this can be $800 or $900 a ton gross metal value. So the key to any mine is margin on your mining costs.
Sure.
Very important in Alaska because we do have slightly higher mining costs and transportation costs. So if this is $900 a ton, it may cost you $125 a ton to mine it. Round that up to be conservative to $150. Throw another $50 a ton for G&A and processing. Whatever that number is, whether it's 200, 225, it doesn't really matter when you have this grade. Because at the end of the day, you have a high margin equals high payback. And this would be an underground deposit. So it would be a long hole stope, mechanized mining, very different from a traditional, very high grade Mexican silver vein deposit, which are long, linear, planar features. This is a big blob of high-grade rock, and it's once you find it, it's pretty exciting.
So you'd have pretty good mining widths in this?
The resource actually is probably the narrowest is 8 or 10 meters thickness, and it goes up to 100 meters of thickness.
Wow, so very little mining dilution.
Yeah, and you're either in high grade or you're in white dolomite, so it's a knife edge. Which is great for mining. It makes it a little tougher on the exploration side.
What is your transportation access? And I mean, is it easy to get there?
Well, it's easy. Maybe isn't the great word, but right now we're still in exploration. We have the mine was built in the 1990s, and they enlarged the airstrip, which I actually started in the 80s, to about 4,400 feet. So when we bring in a new drill rig or trucks or other heavy equipment, we use a C-130 Hercules, 50,000 pound payload, and it's the world's most efficient cargo plane. This deposit would create a zinc concentrate and a lead concentrate. All the silver reports to the lead. So those would have to be shipped. We've completed engineering for a 28-mile all-weather access route from the mine to the Yukon River. And in our part of Alaska, the Yukon River is referred to the Alaska highway system for this part of the state.
Of course,
Barge goes by every 7 days or so in the summer. That's how I'll fuel heavy equipment. So you would bring a ocean-going barge up the Yukon River to our proposed barge landing, which had been used when Anaconda had the property back in the 1980s. So it's been there and done that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would transship your concentrate to market.
Mm-hmm.
Today's everybody and their brother wants to buy a concentrate, but nobody wants to fund the exploration. So that's my job, is to get the capital to find it, and then after that, going to market is probably about the easiest part of the whole equation.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you have a lot to shoot at. I think this is incredibly high grade material, but you need to find more of it probably to justify the.
If we could grow our 75 million ounces to 120 million ounces, again, silver equivalent.
Yeah.
For today's underground mining, the operators, there's 2 or 3 or 4 in the business, so everybody can look at those. Greens Creek is in Alaska that Hecla operates as a good analogous to our deposit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different geology, but it ships a lead concentrate with the silver and the gold and a zinc concentrate. So very, very similar, good metallurgy, and that's a good example for costs, et cetera. So if we can get to that threshold, that would be about a 50% increase in our tonnage. Mm-hmm. Not a whole lot. We've discovered the current resource in 2 years of drilling. We can get enough funding. I think in the next 2 years, we can easily get to that 50% growth or 100% growth. And at that point, it's an economic deposit.
How much funding do you need?
Well, we've been
this summer, let's say,
constricted on our drilling budget of down to about 4,000 meters. We'd like to go to 6 or 8.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've last year was in the 5 to 6 million. So if we could have a $8 million budget, 10 would be great. The faster you drill, the more you drill, the faster the deposit grows. Mm-hmm. We have a turnkey operation. We own our own drill rigs. We own all the equipment.
That helps.
We can turn the key and in 48 hours be a full-blown exploration camp. Mm-hmm. So it's been there. We've been in this business for many years. Our geologic team, between Joe Pekenbrock and Peter McGaw and myself and others, we've had well over 100 years of experience and working in Alaska, so we know how to run the operation. Yeah,
and there's no one better intellectually, I guess, on CRD deposits than Peter McGaw. So
he is the go-to, and did his PhD at Santulalia in northern Chihuahua, and that is really the type example of a carbonate replacement deposit.
Right. Well, I sure hope you can raise the money that you need, because I mean, your shares are just, it doesn't make any sense, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the market could deny you if you can double or triple what you have now.
I think if we can get some adequate funding for this year and next and get to that threshold, then suddenly you reach the economic threshold. And I think the winds of change have finally shifted in the favor of the junior explorers. That doesn't mean it's great. It just means it's not as bad as it was, and it's getting better. But there's so few deposits like this. Agenta's Capital, our financial advisor, Michael Gray in Vancouver, put together a very nice graphic. There's only 6 companies that are juniors, not deposits, not owned by the majors. There's only 6 deposits. We're one of the 6 that is over 60 million ounces of silver equivalent, and over a cutoff grade, which is very important, is the cutoff grade, 200 grams per ton. So I think that tells the story of where the valuation will come from.
Excellent. Well, I can't wait to see you get to work.
Me too.
I'll bet even more so, because geologists like you just love to see what Mother Earth is hiding from you.
We're ready to go, and drilling this kind of material is really a once-in-a-lifetime experience for an exploration geologist or a young geologist. I said, don't take this for granted. You don't see this every day. It's truly spectacular when it comes out of the core barrel. And we drill a large diameter HQ core, and you don't have to even, when the drill helper can't pick up the core barrel because it weighs so much, you know that you've hit it.
Oh yeah, you'll know it's by the weight that you're in the good stuff. The exact grade, not yet, but you
don't know the grade, but if it's got a specific gravity of 4, you know it's going to be good. So.
You have some good sponsors. You have some good financiers. I know Crescat Capital is in there. Who else you?
Yeah, just saw Quentin Henney a little while ago.
Oh, did you?
Willem Middelkoop and Commodity Discovery Fund out of Amsterdam. We have a couple good German funds supporting us. Conwave Gold 2000 is one. The Dare Gold report is another. Some of the Sprott US managed funds. And so we're very happy with that. And we're moving ahead, and we'll actually be, we're originally a U.S. company that listed in Canada. And so this quarter, by the end of the quarter, we plan to be fully registered with the SEC.
Oh, good.
And have our OTCQX listing and do our first U.S.-oriented financing. So
good.
that'll
Wonderful.
allow us to tap the U.S. markets.
Excellent. Well, Kit, I'm glad that you could be here and
Okay.
join me
It's always
at
a
the Metals
pleasure.
Investor Forum here, and we'll be tracking you, that's for
Okay.
sure, watching you closely for my
Very good.
newsletter.
Thank you very much.